What would you do if the happiest day of your life became a stage for someone else's cruelty? My name is Emily, and my wedding day was supposed to be a tapestry of love, woven with dreams and promises. I had envisioned every detail: the soft glow of candles, the laughter of friends, and the moment I'd look into Daniel's eyes and say, "I do." But life, as it often does, had other plans. My sister-in-law, Vanessa, turned my fairy tale into a battlefield, and what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about family, forgiveness, and the power of unexpected allies. The morning of the wedding dawned with a golden hue, the kind that makes you believe in new beginnings. I stood in front of the mirror, my white dress cascading like a waterfall, my heart fluttering with anticipation. Daniel, my fiancé, had been my rock for 3 years, a man whose quiet strength made me feel safe. We met at a community book club, bonding over dog-eared novels and shared dreams of a simple, meaningful life. As I adjusted my veil, I felt like the heroine of my own story, ready to step into forever. But Vanessa, Daniel's older sister, had always been a shadow over our happiness. She was sharp-tongued and fiercely protective of her brother, convinced no one was good enough for him, especially not me. I wasn't from their affluent family, I was a schoolteacher with a modest upbringing, and Vanessa never let me forget it. Her barbed comments about my simple taste or small-town roots stung, but I brushed them off, believing love would outshine her disdain. Daniel assured me she'd come around, but as the wedding approached, her cold glances grew sharper, her words more cutting. The ceremony was perfect. Daniel's vows were a melody of promises, and I felt every word wrap around my heart. The reception, held in a rustic barn adorned with fairy lights, buzzed with joy. Friends danced, glasses clinked, and the air smelled of roses and hope. I was floating, lost in the moment, when Vanessa stood up, wine glass in hand, and asked for everyone's attention. My stomach tightened. I knew that smirk she was about to make a scene. "Emily," she began, her voice dripping with false sweetness, "you've certainly climbed far, haven't you? From a nobody to the center of attention. I mean, who would have thought Daniel would settle for someone so ordinary?" The room fell silent. Guests shifted uncomfortably, their eyes darting between us. My cheeks burned, and I felt the weight of every stare. "I just hope," she continued, "you're ready to live up to our family's standards. Daniel deserves the best, you know." Humiliation clawed at me. I wanted to disappear, to run from the barn and never look back. Daniel's hand found mine under the table, squeezing tightly, but I couldn't meet his eyes. The room was a blur of pity and shock, and I felt like a fraud in my own wedding dress. Vanessa sat down, satisfied, as whispers rippled through the crowd. I opened my mouth to respond, but no words came. What could I say? She'd stripped me bare in front of everyone I loved. Then, something unexpected happened. Michael, Vanessa's husband, stood up. He was a quiet man, always in her shadow, rarely speaking unless spoken to. I barely knew him, always seemed like an extension of Vanessa's will. But now, his face was flushed, his jaw set. He cleared his throat, and the room turned to him, as surprised as I was. "Vanessa," he said, his voice steady but laced with emotion, "that's enough." The words hung in the air, sharp and final. Vanessa's smirk faltered, her eyes widening. Michael turned to the guests, then to me. "Emily, I owe you an apology. Not just for tonight, but for every time I stayed silent while Vanessa tore you down. You didn't deserve that, not today, not ever." The barn was so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat. Michael's hands trembled, but his gaze was unwavering. I've watched you, Emily, bring light to Daniel's life. You're kind, you're real, and you love him in a way that makes him better. That's more than enough. Vanessa's wrong's been wrong about you from the start. He turned to his wife, who looked like she'd been slapped. And I'm done letting her cruelty speak for both of us. Gasps rippled through the room. Vanessa's face drained of color, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. For the first time, she had no retort, no venom to spit. Michael sat down, his shoulders squared, and the guests erupted into murmurs. Daniel squeezed my hand again, this time with pride, and I felt tears prick my eyes not from shame, but from gratitude. The rest of the night was a blur. Friends rallied around me, offering hugs and kind words. Vanessa left early, her face a mask of stunned silence, Michael trailing behind her. I didn't know what would happen to their marriage, but in that moment, I didn't care. Michael's words had given me back my dignity, and I felt stronger than ever. Daniel leaned over, whispering, I'm so proud of you, and I knew we'd face whatever came next together. In the days that followed, I replayed Michael's speech in my mind. It wasn't just about defending me, it was about him breaking free from years of silence, choosing courage over complacency. I reached out to thank him, and we had a long, quiet conversation over coffee. He told me about his own struggles, how Vanessa's need for control had worn him down, how he'd stayed quiet to keep the peace. My wedding, he said, was the moment he realized silence was no longer an option. You reminded me what it means to stand up for what's right, he said, and I felt a bond form between us, unexpected but real. Vanessa never apologized, but I didn't need her to. Her silence at the reception was enough. It showed me her power was fragile, built on intimidation rather than truth. I learned something else, too. Family isn't just blood. It's the people who see you, who stand by you, who speak up when it matters most. Michael became more than a brother-in-law, he became a friend, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, light can come from unexpected places. As for Daniel and me, our marriage began not with perfection, but with resilience. We faced the storm together, and it made us stronger. The wedding wasn't the fairy tale I'd imagined, but it was ours, raw, real, and unforgettable. I look back now, months later, and I don't see Vanessa's words when I think of that day. I see Michael standing up, his voice cutting through the noise, and I see myself, still in my white dress, learning that love isn't just about vows, it's about the courage to stand tall, even when someone tries to tear you down. What does it mean to be enough? For me, it's knowing that no one's cruelty can dim your light unless you let it. And on that day, surrounded by love and an unexpected ally, I chose to shine.